So hello world, welcome to another tutorial, and in this one I will be teaching you how to use touch buttons in Godot. So if you like this kind of content and you would like to see more in the future, please do consider liking this video and subscribing to this channel. I have lots of good content coming up in the future which you do not like to miss, so subscribe for that. And also, if you have any questions or suggestions for content you would like to see me do in the future, feel free to leave them down in the comments. So with that, we can get to our tutorial. So what I have in this project currently is just my character with its script. The script is basically just the template script that we have that we get automatically or by default when we create our character body 2D, with just minor tweaks. For example, I changed the speed to 600 because the default was too slow, and the jump velocity to -750 so that it can jump higher and get to this platform over here. And I also changed some of the inputs to WASD or WAND, so not the arrow keys. And the way I did that was I came here to the project settings and went to the input map, and then I added the actions I wanted. For example, if I want to add F, I'll just press F, add it, then I'll press this plus button over here, and then plus, and then I'll press F, and then I'll just come to my code, and then I'll say if, for example, if input.is action just pressed F, do something. So that's basically what I did. So if input is W, jump. If input is A, go left. If input is right, go right. And yeah, that's basically what I did. So what I also have more in this project is basically platforms where you can jump so that the player doesn't fall into the infinite abyss. And yeah, and I also have a control node and a canvas layer where we will be putting our buttons. So let us get to putting the buttons. So it's fairly easy to use touch buttons in Godot, and there are two methods actually, and the one I'll be using is the easier one. I might make another tutorial for the other method in the future. And how you do it is, I just want to come here and we'll add children nodes to our canvas layer. So we'll add touch buttons, and they're supposed to be in the canvas layer, and then we'll just duplicate this twice for up. So we're supposed to call this up. We'll rename it to up, and then down, not down, left. We can't really move down, and then, or we haven't added that functionality yet, and then this one will be right. Once we have that, we don't really see them because they need textures, and I have some textures which I made specifically for this tutorial. They're very simple textures which I made with Asprite. We leave the link to Asprite and the links to these simple buttons, so you can use them in your project if you'd like, or you can download others from the itch.io store which look way better than what I have over here. Of course, I am an artist, but I was feeling quite lazy making this button, so you can use my lazy buttons in your project if you'd like. So what I have here is the buttons for when they're normal and pressed. So I'll just come here to my up, and I'll drag this up.png to the up texture, and then up 2 I will drag to the texture pressed, and then I'll just drag this to where it's supposed to be on my screen, which is somewhere here at the bottom. Oh, I also resized my screen, my project screen, so that it can actually fit the size of my phone. And my phone is, so how I did that is I went to project settings, then to general, here to display window, and then I changed this value, so my width and my height. My phone's width is 2400 by 1080 pixels, so you can change to your device by googling which pixel size your device is in, and then you can change that. So I can continue. So left, I'll just come here and drag left 2 to when it's normal, and left 2 when it's pressed. Then I can do the same thing for right. So I'll just look for right, normal, and right pressed. Then I'll just drag this to where they're supposed to be, and then I'll scale them up a bit by like 2.5 so that we can actually press them and we can have the space. So I'll come here to transform, change this to like 2.5. Yeah, and they're scaled up, and then I'll just drag them again back to their positions. So it's fairly easy to use these buttons. You just come over here, and then we'll just write, and action is W for up, and action is A for left, and action is D for right. So we just basically, yeah, we're basically done. You just bind this to whatever action you made. So when I press W, when I press this button, it will just simulate W, and if I press left, it will simulate A, and if I press right, it will simulate right. So if you run this scene currently, nothing will work, and that is because you have to come here to project settings, and then you look for emulate, and then pointing, and then you'll have to turn this on. So emulate touch from mouse. You have to make sure that is on so that your mouse can simulate a touch action. I'll just drag this up a bit so that we can actually see it in our screen, because the screen is bigger or smaller in my PC. So now when you press your buttons, you can see that they are working. So that's basically how you use touch buttons in Godot. You can now export this to your Android device, or use one-click deploy to test it out. I'll be making a tutorial on how to use one-click deploy. If you'd like to see that, subscribe. Make sure to subscribe so that you can see me uploading this to using one-click deploy to my device. So yeah, that is the end of this tutorial. And if you'd like to see more in the future, please do consider subscribing to this channel. You can also put other buttons over here for shooting stuff. And yeah, we're basically done with this tutorial. I'll just close this. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.